and yellow too. So.
All right. I think we may be live. Let's see. Yeah. Let's check the stream, guys. It looks like we are.
Yeah,
Welcome. Yeah. All right. Look at this. We got the round table, guys. It is the Seahawks at Panthers post-game show. We had nothing to fight for, and the team still fought pretty hard. I would say that. What was the end score, CK?
30-24.
30-24. The Panthers fall again. This is like 7. I feel like it's 7 in a row. If it's not, it's 6.
It's 6, I think.
It feels like a million.
It feels bad. How about that?
All right, so you're listening to the C3 Panthers post-game show. My name's Tony Dunn. You can follow me on Twitter at @cat_chronicles. If we could get a little shout out from the YouTube chat room letting us know everything is sounding okay, because we are off-site right now. We're at... Thank you so much, by the way, for hosting us, brother. It's great.
Man, this is the secondary home of C3, right?
That's the truth. We got the command center right here.
Right.
We have been in the car riding to the game yesterday. Now we all got to go home. All 3 of us got to go home. You got to stay here.
I'm already here, man.
You got to wallow in the misery. Tony Dunn here. I'm here with my co-host, Cody, my man, bro. How you doing?
I'm doing wonderful, man. I'm joined with all my best Panther friends, the livest Panther fans on the YouTube chat, all the faithfuls, man, Underground West, Jeff Hodge, Jake DeLome, Joey Esquivel, Tony Dunn. Ain't nothing to it but to do it, brother. Let's roll.
We got CK in the house. What's up, my man?
You know, living the dream, man. Living the dream. We got to enjoy one last game for the season, and luckily it wasn't a blowout, so we got to actually enjoy it a little bit, but... it ended the way we expected.
And let me tell you this, we got the fucking star here.
Yeah,
the star,
man.
Nova, baby.
Nova,
right in the house. Good Lord. Nova, man.
I came all the way up into the game. I was hoping we was going to pull it off today. But, as always, whenever I get my tickets, I'm going to make sure I'm sitting high in the 500 area so I can see the whole field, so I can see the play calls, the X's and O's and all of that. And I got my eyes full today, and I see exactly pretty much why we suck, and I'm quite sure you guys seen it too. So, yeah, I'm wallowing in the misery right along with everybody else.
Yeah. All right. So, Cody, tell me what you saw in this game right here today.
I saw, again, a Kyle Allen that does not read the field. Kyle Allen that has no zip on his passes, even throwing the ball 11 yards in front of him. I see Kyle Allen making absolutely terrible decisions. And I feel bad for Scott Turner because, this is his audition to prove that he can call plays in the NFL. His dad is a very famed coach, and this is his opportunity to show what he's capable of doing. And our quarterback is just, it's bad. There's no more excuses. The pass protection was not that bad today. I actually think they did pretty well. I don't know what y'all think. This offense is 100% Christian McCaffrey, and it's embarrassing, man. And the defense, we let up too many runs early on in the football game, and we have an offense that can't dig us out of that hole. So it's a comedy of errors. Same old Panthers, man.
Nova, you always bring such a great cat call. And what I love about your calls, Nova, is that they truly do find a way to get their finger on the pulse of this team.
Yep.
You have an innate ability. I'm not just trying to smooze you. What did you see out of this game today about this team going forward?
Well, to add to what Cody just said, besides what I seen from Kyle Allen, I seen trashy play calling from the defense.
Yes.
I see whoever's calling the plays on defense as far as coverages goes and defensive alignments and formations and stuff, based upon the formations that the Seattle Seahawks are running on offense, those aren't the best calls and the best formations to actually stop the run or actually stop the pass coverages, the appropriate pass coverages and stuff like that. I see that they playing a lot of man coverage and stuff. But, yeah, they playing man coverage, but they playing them at the wrong time. They playing zone when they should be playing man. They playing man when they should be playing zone.
Why? Let me ask you this. Is on the second touchdown of the game, it was DK Metcalf against Dante Jackson. It is in, I think they're in zone at that point.
Right.
And I think this is an important point that Nova's making, is that we're in zone when we should be in man. Even if we're in zone, why don't you say this? If DK Metcalf is lined up against you, let's flip the zone.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you put a 5 foot.
Put Bradbury on him.
You leaned over to me and said you got a 5'1" guy and a 7'1" guy.
Right.
What in the world is that? Is why don't we have the wherewithal to notice this? The Panthers defense was atrocious as usual. Per usual, they ran 7 yards on us anytime. Look, if a running back wants to have one of the best career averages, he's got to play the Carolina Panthers. CK, what'd you see in this game?
Honestly, about as much as you guys did. I saw that we had to play 2 different teams today, not only the Seahawks, but the refs with a lot of their officiating. But, that's what we saw from the stands. Now, what was on the television may be a little bit different, but at the end of the day, to have it this close was a surprise. I don't think anybody would have expected it.
No.
There towards the end, our defense did show up when they knew that the Seattle Seahawks were only going to run. And then guess what? They were able to stop the run. But that was it. I think one of the things that, Tony, you leaned over to me and talked about was there's something wrong with Luke. I mean, he is not the same Luke. He blew at least 2 or 3 different coverages that we saw. And then, he was a lot more decent against the run today than he had been in recent games. But, from the aspect of his game in general, he has not been the level of, player on our defense that he has been in years past.
And I think this goes to what, Cody, you have said all the time, is that while we want to focus on, we actually hate focusing in on Luke. Yeah. I hate saying that he looks pedestrian out there. But when you do see the rest of the defense look atrocious, it's kind of like saying this is like, I wish he was a better turd among the stinkiest turds.
And like everyone, and me and Nova were talking about this. Everyone's coming down hard on Dante Jackson. But it's another.
In the stands, they were going nuts about Dante Jackson, and I think that was unfair.
It's another one of those things where Luke and Dante, they're such, Luke is a veteran. We all know who Luke Kuechly is, man. But Dante has so much talent and skill and bravado, and he has the personality that goes along with it. Whenever those two make mistakes, everyone hones in on them. Everyone sees those mistakes more blatant than every other. Now, what I'm not doing is defending either of them. I don't think Luke or Dante is playing good football. But my thing is this. Who the fuck is playing good football on the Panthers right now?
You're right. You said don't throw the baby out with the
bathwater.
Yeah,
Christian.
Christian almost got us this pick today.
Let me amend that.
He threw it in the dirt.
No. He dropped that pass.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, he did drop it. Who on the Panthers defense is playing worth a damn?
Nobody.
I dare anyone to name one player on our defense.
Maybe Shaq a little bit.
And how about this? On that last touchdown, Shaq pulled Carson into the end zone. He would have been down, but Shaq had him and pulled him into the end zone trying to make the tackle.
What was it? What was when they reviewed the call and they said that, remember when we said it should have been it stands, the call stands, but they it was where they touched him, where the guy was touched. They touched him like this. That's what they said. Yeah, he didn't touch him.
What did you see on that, Cody? Because we couldn't.
What play was it?
That was the one that was the fumble that Chris Carson tripped on his own volition.
Right. Yeah, and then fumbled on the ground. Had he fallen to the ground on his own, right, it would have been a fumble. Right. And they tried to say they overturned the call.
They overturned.
There was no evidence.
We were playing both the Seattle Seahawks and the refs, and look. This is not, first of all, we would have lost had we not played the refs. Don't worry. Yeah. We should have lost. So this is not, if you're a Seahawks fan coming in here, this is not saying we lost because of the refs. But what I saw is a play that should have just stood. It was not conclusive. All right, so look, I leaned over to CK guys at the beginning of this game, and I said, "This is the same shit we've seen all season. It's the same exact team."
It's so disheartening. I mean, you listen to the last post game, this one, the one before. I mean, we're going to be saying the same things. It's the same team, and I think what makes it hurt the most is 2 years in a row we're dealing with the same bullshit, man. We started on fire, hot,
but we didn't even start hot this year.
Well, I think with the quarterback situation, it didn't feel that way. But our defense was humming.
Started ripping those wings.
Yeah, and Kyle Allen looked good until teams got a chance to realize, oh, this dude might not be a starter in the Canadian Football League, let alone the NFL. And now everyone, it's so easy to prepare for our offense. But for the second year in a row, it's the same Carolina Panthers that falls off a cliff.
Excuse me, so is it safe to say that we were playing against Kyle Allen too today?
Yeah.
100%.
You know, that's
how many people were we playing against?
Listen,
that's what I said. The refs, the fan. Guys, the fans,
I've seen a couple passes that could have gone for touchdowns today if Kyle was actually.
Absolutely.
He is a one read.
You know what I was a big fan of? I felt like Scott adjusted.
He was amazing.
Adjusted.
Yeah.
Not only did he adjusted to take out our biggest weakness, which was
Kyle Allen. He did.
And then until we couldn't afford to leave him out of the equation, we can't continue to run with 3 minutes left in the game.
We ran 6 plays in a row that were all runs. One a direct snap to the wide receiver.
Yeah.
Motion. And they were still runs.
Yeah. And they were going 10, 15 yards and everything. And then guess what happened? When it finally started working,
Kyle
Allen was able to get the ball to wide open receivers. Now, any contested catches, there was none. You know, even there was a couple of Jarius Wright that were out there that could have been.
Hold on. I got to stop you. He got the ball to wide open receiver. Because he only looks at one receiver. Yeah. We watched his head the whole time.
Yeah.
It does not move. It looks at one guy, and that's it.
So then is that him, or is that our coaches
not
trusting him?
I think they don't trust him.
No, that's what I think too.
Christian McCaffrey ran right in front of him, wide open on one play. Ran right in front of him, and he's like this.
Where is Will Grier?
And he throws it out to the left side.
Why? Someone tell me.
I don't think we see him this year at all. At this point,
we've said this a bunch, but now there really is no reason for us not to be playing Will Grier. There is no one that can come up with any common sense argument other than the Panthers are tanking because they know we're not going to win with Kyle Allen, so we're going to leave him out there for a better draft pick. There is not a reason in the world why you would not have already put Kyle Allen on the bench and see what kind of player you have that you drafted in the 3rd round. It infuriates me, and I know that there are no hopes for this Panthers team to make the playoffs, but it's like you're not even going to evaluate your own talent. I don't understand.
You heard cries from fans, from old people. This is my thing is you can the Panthers fans are old. No offense, but they are a bunch of grandmas and grandpas out there in the stands. And when grandmas and grandpas are yelling for Will Grier, you know that it's mainstream at this point. Like, what the hell? Like, why is this not working? All right, you listen to the C3 Panthers post-game show. We're here on Tuesday nights live, 9 p.m., We're also here after the games, even when they stink. Look, we came. Nova came today. CK came today. I came today. And Cody's hosting us all at his house. So you know it doesn't matter how bad we are. Zero fucks given on that. But on the same point as this, is that we're going to talk trash about the team a little bit because, hey, we're fans. We get to do that.
And we love them. We love the Panthers. Yeah. We're allowed to do that shit when they're a dumpster fire.
7 years we've been doing this podcast. We appreciate your support. Go ahead and smash the thumbs up button. The 53 people watching right now, here comes the shame moment. 19 of you jerks have actually, what is 54? 34 out of 34 of y'all got to hit the smash the thumbs up button. 20 of y'all are not jerks. No, I'm kidding.
Hey, thumbs up for Nova Black being here, man.
This is
Come
dope.
on.
This is
the
dope.
best
In
cat
the flesh.
caller that we
Yeah,
have
he's a legend.
is in the house.
Yep.
Give
Legend.
us a thumbs up.
Call into the show.
Because we got some really good cat callers.
Yeah,
They
is some
do,
good
man.
cat-
The fans love. Look, we built a community. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Is that I was talking to CK about the show before we were there, and what we don't want anybody to feel like is that this is us talking to you, like telling you what to think. No, not at all. We are all here just chopping it up together. You're talking to us. We're rapping with you. That's what it's about right there. We ain't telling you what to think. Y'all are telling us what to talk about. And go ahead and call into the show, 252-228-5098, and you can be a part of the longest running Panthers podcast. I do want to shout out Vivid Seats. If you're trying to go to the game, whether it be a Hornets game, whether it be a Hurricanes game, or whether it be one of these painful ass Carolina Panthers games, go to Vivid Seats or download the Vivid Seats app. You can be a part of the Vivid Seats reward program where they reward you for buying tickets. You can sort by price, by seat, and you get a ticket you like for a price you want. Vivid Seats, be sure to use the promo code OVERTIME. That's the promo code OVERTIME and be a part of that. All right, let's just jump into this. Let's do a couple of cat calls. Let's catch our breath and see what you get and where we're at after this game. I know people are upset. We're calling for Will Greer. People in the chat room are calling for build that wall.
They're still
Don't
saying
forget, that is not a plug for Donald Trump.
no.
Let's see if we can
You know,
hear it.
guys, and this is Joey Esquivel, by the way. You know why Charlotte annoys the shit out of me? There were Seahawks fans at the stadium, and Tony and CK, I'm sure you probably heard them.
Yeah, there's this.
But this
fly
just
ass-
annoys the shit out of me. At least the PAT was no good, and it sucks that is gonna make you cheer for, like, I don't know. It's gonna make you cheer because that's the only thing to cheer for this season. At least they're gonna be chasing an extra point.
You have a ladybug on your collar.
You know, I prefer to be like we were in the Saints game, where we play great up until the end, and Joey Slide misses a kick, so we don't mess up our draft pick. There's only 3 games left. I don't think it's wrong to tank.
All right, so there were a lot of Seahawks fans there. Luckily, there was.
How empty is
we got the auto.
Bank-
I forgot the auto plays on your computer. Luckily, there was a really good Seahawks fan looking like she was fly as shit right in front of us. So that was the only thing that allowed it to be okay. But other than that, I would say they were very docile. They cheered. They were not mean by any, like, thank God I didn't have to sit around Atlanta Falcons fans the whole time.
Absolutely.
But I would give credit to this. I thought that Bank of America had more people in it than I expected today.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely. I mean, I was expecting to be able to just move right down. Like, just be
Yeah, and we
"Hey,
didn't get to.
Let's go ahead and go down to the lower level and enjoy ourselves a little bit and be a part of the team for a bit. But nope, it was.
This is all I could do, man. I'm telling you this. The team looked so bad, Cody. All I could do was say, go back to your place where all your bicycle lanes and your sidewalks and your liberal asses, and they laughed.
Hey, you know what? You know what we haven't talked about? I've enjoyed being in that stadium while Cam Newton was in it.
Oh, amen to that. Today, Cam Newton was at
The game,
Bank
man.
of America.
He was in the press box.
Also, I don't even know if you guys know this. He had 10 children from Levine's Children's Hospital with him.
Oh,
8
wow.
of them were his. No, I'm just kidding. Sorry. No, 10 kids. 10 kids.
Yeah, he had a bunch of kids
He's
from
wonderful.
Levine's Children's Hospital there. He had the boot on him. He was taking pictures. Man, that's Cam Newton, man. That's the quarterback that we know and love. That's the quarterback that we're all hoping and praying that comes back and is our quarterback next season. And it doesn't even feel right to say.
I can tell you this.
Yeah.
They that entire stadium wanted Cam to know that they were happy that he was there. You know, it was people, every time he was on the Jumbotron, it was people
They
standing
got
up
loud.
and cheering.
I want Panther fans to know
the whole
that.
game as soon as Cam showed
Yeah.
That was the only
I
thing
want
he said.
Panther fans to know
Shut
that
up, Luke showed
because
up.
these silly anti-Cam people, this very radical group, it's like politics. It's all just like politics.
100%.
It's 10% on the left, 10% on the right that dictate what we think
Right.
is the true conversation. But
The loudest.
But when Cam Newton came out there, people were supporting him. We were going nuts. So people were saying we want Cam. Even the people that don't like Cam, let me tell you this. These old people behind us were making fun of me because I said I'm gay for Cam. You know, that's my thing. And this old lady said, "Oh, you like old grandmas?" And she was old, and I was like, "You better watch out."
Oh!
And how about this? Is we were coming back and like we had to skip a row and I had to jump down a row and she held my hand. I kissed it. I said, "What's up? Watch out for grandmas."
Her
I
husband
said,
was right there, by the way, guys.
but even though she was saying, "I want Cam Newton," she was only half meaning it. We rode in an Uber
Oh my
today
gosh.
on the way
with one of your boys.
with a Clemson fan.
who's a
Yeah.
Clemson alum.
Oh,
Olin.
Clemson alum who
Okay.
goes
He's going
to
to the Ohio game.
Yep, going to the Ohio State
right.
game. Goes there, and he said, "Can't." And first, I will point out this: he was a black male, so he goes, "Cam's got a bad attitude," and I was like, "Oh my god,
Really?
I can't." I was like, "Let me out of this fucking car, man!" But it was just the typical. He's got a bad, and it didn't make any sense.
Mm-hmm.
But the point is, like Nova said, like CK saying, is that Panther fans that were there today, the ones that sat in the stands through what was no reason being, they all knew, just like we know, Cam makes this team better.
Cam is it.
Cam makes this team with those pieces an instant contender because we have an offense with Cam Newton as a running threat out the backfield. He can throw the ball, make all the throws, deep ball on a dime. He can hit Curtis Samuel.
He's a multiple read quarterback.
He
He's
does.
reading defenses.
Yeah.
He's making audibles at the line.
I was just
I,
about to
I,
say
I
that.
was telling
Thank you.
Nova that today. Today, before y'all got here, I was like, Cam Newton is so underrated pre-snap. The man knows how to read the defense, and our offense has sorely been missing that level of command under center.
Can we talk about this, though? Like, look at our offense. If we had Cam there with McCaffrey playing the way that he's been playing, DJ Moore finding ways to be wide open and making contested catches, and then his yards after the catch ability, I mean, he was making people look like complete idiots.
Our offense truly, if you could take Kyle Allen out of it,
It's not. I mean,
it's
offensive
not
line.
been horrendous. We've put up
No.
points. We've been putting up 20-something points every week, it seems like. I mean, there's been a couple of weeks we don't. But overall, even when Norv was calling it, the offense was at least productive. You guys remember 2013, where we couldn't score 20. You know what I'm saying? And,
Yeah.
so
Remind me.
we have scored points. The issue with it, though, is our defense stinks. And I want to go to one of the comments. Richard's Outdoor World says this, and I think, to me, this is the most bothersome point about not playing Will Grier. And I think he's hit the nail on the head. By them not playing Grier, it makes it look like Grier is so incompetent he can't be on the field.
Right.
And I have said over and over, this is not about learning who Will Grier can be. It's really about learning where he's at,
Right, who he
and
is.
giving him some experience. If he
Right.
does terrible, well, so what? If
Yeah.
he throws the ball to the other defense, that's what Kyle Allen
Yeah,
did
But
today.
if he shines, we got draft capital.
Yeah,
Yes!
exactly.
What if
And-
he would have come in and led you for a touchdown drive? And
Yeah,
yeah,
Let's talk about what happened with Garoppolo. I mean,
Right,
he
100%.
came in for 5 games. He showed promise. He didn't show that he was elite by
right.
any means, and he got paid elite money. Even when he got traded, he went undefeated there at the end of that 49ers season that was so abysmal that people started to think that he was the second coming of Tom Brady. Reality is, if you look at the stats, he did not do anything to make that team better. But, you put a position where the 49ers sent away a pick to the Patriots that they probably used to get somebody who's been contributing.
Do we see him start next week?
No.
Shut up! Shut
Listen,
up!
but this is my entire point though. What would be different against the Colts or against the Saints that isn't already happening?
It has to be against the Colts. It has to be next week.
But
how bad can we lose?
Every scenario that could happen that would cause the team to put Will Grier in has already happened.
Yeah.
And they're not playing Will Grier. So that shows you that they have zero intention on playing Will Grier.
I agree.
And it's not like Will Grier
How can Tepper not step in here?
What I'm saying is, why doesn't David Tepper say, listen, if Will Grier doesn't get some snaps, don't expect to have a job tomorrow.
Yes.
I mean,
that's exactly where I'm at.
Yeah, because it's not extra. So Ken Dye said, like, Patrick Mahomes sat a year. One, Will Grier is nowhere near Patrick Mahomes. But then on another note, is a lot of people forget that Peyton Manning statistically had a terrible rookie year. John Elway had a terrible rookie year. So I don't want to hear this trash that, if you play them too early, then you ruin them forever. No, it means they weren't built to play football. That they couldn't adapt and get
if he's so mentally fragile that he gets sacked 6 times in a game and his career's over.
Yeah.
Then you know what?
Wasn't your future.
Then thank you for learning.
On a Jimmy Clausen repeat.
Yeah. It's insanity. It's insanity because it would be one thing if Kyle Allen was playing like he played in that third game he played.
Arizona.
Where he's kind of, he played Arizona, he played Houston. He's kind of, we don't know if it's North Turner calling the offense or whatever it is, but it was working.
Right.
The thing is Kyle Allen has gotten to a point now, number one, Seattle took the ball today. They won the coin flip, and they said, give us the ball. You know what that means? We want to play from ahead. Yeah. We want to go score 7 points on your ass, and your ass is 2 things. Number one, we don't think your defense can stop us. Number 2, we know Kyle Allen can't come back. But I would also say this. It would be one thing if Kyle Allen couldn't make all the throws. It would be another thing if he was just a one-read quarterback. But here's the third thing. Now he is just being irresponsible completely. It's just like this. Oh, shit. Getting tackled. Throw it up.
And
I mean, just throwing nothing. It doesn't even matter.
And that's why I said any scenario that would cause a team to bench a starting quarterback for the backup has already happened to this Panthers team. So why should we believe that something would change against the Colts or against New Orleans?
Nova, why is it that they're truly not starting it? What was the comment?
One of the guys in the chat group said, because Perry Fuel is Ron Rivera in disguise.
That's so funny.
It's like a Scooby-Doo cartoon.
Oh, yeah.
It was Ron the whole time.
So I do think I can't get past this, is that, number one, if this guy is so easily broken in the last 2 games of the season, you know he's not our guy.
Yeah.
You know he's not.
Yeah.
And you know you're going to move on from him. It doesn't make any sense. It makes 0 sense why we're playing half the people, to be honest, that we're playing. Is that I feel like at this point, we need to see what Marquise Haynes can do. Yeah. We need to see we need to get Christian Miller reps. I don't know who but we don't care about Bruce Irvin no more. We don't care about Dante. Well, I'm not Terry Post.
Well, how about this?
I was thinking McCoy.
I put this on Twitter earlier. I think Vernon Butler, it was a disservice to him that the Panthers drafted him. Because David Gettleman drafted an insurance policy in case K'Wan Short didn't sign.
Yeah.
But then he did sign. As soon as Star Lotulelei left the Panthers, we shouldn't have signed Dontari Poe. That one tech should have been for Vernon Butler. Now, in the final year of his deal, Vernon Butler has 6 sacks.
So he's going to get paid by somebody else. Thank God. It better not be us.
But who's going to pay?
Not be us.
But who's going to pay him for a year?
Real.
But who's going to pay him for a year?
Somebody's going to look at those stats.
Somebody is going to get suckered by the
Brandon
6
Butler
sacks
is
from a
Coney
defense.
Ealy 2.0.
Yeah, that's a good. All right, so then do the Panthers do like what we did with Darrell Williams and just give them, a handful of change
deal?
for a year?
No, because here's the problem. Even if you look at the production he's actually made, it's not because he's been disruptive. It's because the quarterbacks have been holding him to the ball entirely too long. So he's not getting up the middle and just overpowering his offensive tackle or his offensive guard, but he's basically just the benefit. Like even today, like he just happened to be right where Russell was trying to escape the pocket. That was it.
Yeah.
It wasn't that he was getting somewhere that somebody else wasn't. Had Russell tried to go a different way, it's a completely different
He's
outcome.
benefiting off other guys that's actually pushing the pocket.
I'm okay with us if we bring him back under the condition that we tell him and he agrees that he's a rotational player.
And he's playing for free.
Yeah, I mean,
He's paying us back.
He's
He's
paying
paying us
for
back
free.
some of those bonuses we paid.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want it to be big or nothing, but this is that we're gonna look. Poe ain't gonna be on this team next year. McCoy arguably won't be on. I mean, there's a good chance he won't be on this
That's
team.
kind of my point. What you're going to do? Bring back Kyle Love? Vernon Butler is only 25 years old.
That's what I'm saying.
So
if we bring him back, but we have to bring him back not as a starter, as this,
Right,
as a Kyle Love.
I guarantee
body.
So the question
we let him go, he goes to the Patriots or the Eagles.
So the question is, do we go into the draft looking for a defensive tackle?
Oh my gosh! Again,
I think we have to.
Well, and that's another thing. I kind of feel like that's why they signed Shaq Thompson, so that way going into free agency, we don't have a hole at linebacker and defensive tackle. Oh, and by the way, James Bradbury needs a brand new contract, so we need a whole other corner. Like, I'm telling you, man, all the holes that are on this football team, they're creeping up on people faster than they expected.
Dave Gettleman will get 2 defensive tackles back to back.
Yeah, right.
he would, except for the problem is then the next year he draft 3 corners back to back in the same
Yeah,
damn
'cause they're not
draft,
going
and
to
none
do-
of
yeah.
them are going to be on the fucking team.
So stupid.
All right, let's go to the next call. The number's 252-228-5098. Smash the thumbs up button. Subscribe to the show. Tell a brother about it.
63 people, only 36 likes. Come on.
How
y'all.
empty is Bank of America Stadium as of 1:22 p.m. or so?
It
I
wasn't
kinda think
as
it's
bad
too
as you
empty.
would think.
And also,
Y'all said it was all right.
when are we actually going to
I
make
mean, it won't
the
fool.
visiting team's fans feel like they have to hide like the Saints fans
It's
do?
not ever going to happen.
Like, why are there enough Seahawks fans who are brazen enough to chant for their team
Oh,
to the point where we
chanted
could hear them over the
Seahawks
radio?
all the way down.
But we were screaming, boo.
If
All
this
right,
was
I'm
the
gonna end this call
Superdome,
right
I'm
here. I'm
sorry.
gonna tell you this. I'm gonna explain the whole reason the way this exists. The PSL system has created a very sanitary,
A pompous atmosphere.
yeah, and that is that people who bought PSLs first of all have to come from the middle to middle upper class.
Yeah.
We buy tickets from people who are selling singles a lot of times. And that's fine. We come there, we slap the chairs and all of this. But another thing is I think also the PSL system has been bought by a lot of corporate
It has.
stuff. And so that you get every business in Charlotte owns 6 tickets and
Yeah.
they give them to their clients and this and that.
And
And-
those clients aren't Panther fans.
Yeah,
sometimes.
yeah. So, and then this is you get, and then I think the other thing is that the PSL system does is that it courts a lot of people that are going to go there and sit.
Yeah.
And you know what I'm saying? And we're up there trying to yell and trying to scream and
Yeah.
and it's hard. It's hard when and I will and fairness to Panther fans, there wasn't a lot to cheer about today.
No.
No.
The fact that we even got up on 3rd down is a testament to us, not to the team. Is they gave us 0 to cheer for all season. The defense sucks. Kyle Allen sucks. All of the coaching staff, except for Scott Turner, appears to suck.
Well, and I mean, listen. Let's speak to what you guys are doing. When both of you leave, or when all of you leave my house, y'all have what 3 or 4 hour drives ahead
Yeah.
of all y'all.
Yeah.
So if you're Panther fans and the team sucks like they do right now, well, my buddy is a Seahawks fan, and he's willing to pay for my ticket, so fuck it, I'm gonna let my friend go.
Yeah.
And that's the way our atmosphere is, and until
we develop a winning culture for a stretch.
Yeah.
We have to have a stretch, and if we don't have a single back-to-back winning season in our year,
you're never
how
gonna
can
build
you build?
You'll never build it unless you build sustained success.
All right, 252-228-5098. Next call.
What is going on, gentlemen? It is Theo from Asheville.
What's up, Theo?
Don't really know what I want to talk at this point in the season, but hey, here we are. We're actually putting in a decent performance against the Seahawks. I just want to, come in on another week, another game. And Kyle Allen, man, he doesn't really want to budge. He doesn't want to do anything, man. To me, it's as simple as this, man. If we lose Cam Newton, it's not going to be good. Cam Newton is a playmaker. He knows how to extend the pocket, extend the play. He knows how to make plays when there is nothing. And I feel like, after just watching these 3 interceptions back to back to back, on the last one, it just looks like, Kyle Allen tries to make a play where there isn't one. And, to me, that's the difference between a good quarterback and a great one, You'd never see an Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady making a play like that. If they know there's no play, they're not going to try to make one. They know their ability to make a play, essentially. I just think Kyle Allen's decision-making is abominable, and I don't know still why we have not seen Will Greer. I'm just refusing to understand why we'd even go waste a 3rd-round pick. My only thought could be, I don't know. It's like
that's his first one. It's the same call.
I feel like maybe you groom a backup, but then he's been our starter all. I can't even explain the logic behind the Panthers right now.
Well, let me tell you this.
Yeah, guys,
it's very simple when it comes to Kyle Allen, guys. Is then the whole Kyle Allen conversation that he was potentially a budding quarterback in the NFL all came from the fact that he was not great, but he wasn't making mistakes.
Yeah. And
as soon as he started making mistakes, which is true, is that you're going to regress to the mean. You know what I'm saying? Like, even if you're hot on the roulette table, over time you will regress to the mean. And it's just a reality of life. And his mean is it sucks. And second, that's the point. Is this just now? It's this. Is we didn't want Kyle Allen to be Brett Favre. We didn't want Kyle Allen to be Cam Newton. We wanted Kyle Allen to be a game manager, but he hasn't managed the game.
Case Keenum. I think CK made that comparison earlier in the year. He was playing like Case Keenum, but now it's nowhere even on that level. Like it's not Fitzpatrick. I mean, he's the worst ranked quarterback.
I gotta admit, I'm probably like a Cowboy fan. I'm very delusional. I wanted that Joker to be Cam Newton. I mean, I knew he wasn't no Cam Newton. I was still hoping, you come out and shine.
Yeah, that's what a Cowboy fan would say.
You're pulling for your team too, man. It's like you're hoping the best for him.
Yeah. All right, next call.
Hey.
That's G
You
Baby.
know who it is.
G Baby.
It's G Baby, fellas. But we fucking suck, man.
We ain't nice.
It's a tough day in Panther Nation, man. But on a good note, fellas, Cam was in the booth, sitting right next to David Tepper, and that's beautiful news. I don't feel like Cam Newton is going anywhere, fellas. He ain't going nowhere.
Told y'all, bitches.
Like I said, we got to keep on losing. We tanked the fucking season. We got a top 10 draft pick. In my opinion, we got to go after a top 10 weapon, man. Like, all-world talent. I'm talking about, like, Jerry Jeudy or fucking C.D. Lamb out of Oklahoma. Those are my 2 picks so far. Let me know how you guys feel about it. But at the end of the day, you guys already know. Keep pounding, baby. Hey.
Keep pounding. So, before I get to that, let me ask y'all this. If Kyle Allen equals us having a better draft pick, do we even want to see Will Greer? Like, is G Baby right? Or are we kind of just content to be like, well, let's just let Kyle throw a few more interceptions in the fourth quarter and try and get that top 10
I think if
pick.
Kyle Allen was great today, we still would have lost.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
really.
it was a really good. I mean, Seahawks team. Let's be honest, they're not They don't have the record they have after beating the 49ers, mind you, that they do by not being a good team. So, yeah, I agree with that. But I think the part of it that we also have to look at is we pretty much know we're going to lose the last 2 games with Kyle Allen under center. Now, he could pull out some surprises against Indianapolis, and if New Orleans is playing for nothing, then by all means, yes, we may be able to win the last 2 games. Do we want that? No. The thing that I think with the Will Grier conversation that I think is interesting is a lot of people want to put it towards, we're just trying to develop him traditionally, right?
What does that even mean?
Traditionally means you learn behind a veteran, right? That's how I would, perceive it. Patrick Mahomes behind Alex Smith.
Aaron Rodgers behind Brett Favre.
You have a long laundry
Tom
list
Brady
of people.
behind
Drew Bledsoe.
But Will Grier don't have that.
But here's the thing. If that was the real reason, he wouldn't be the third string. He would have been the backup to Cam Newton. Right? Am I wrong in that assumption? Yeah. And right now, you're thinking that you're trying to appease the fans by saying that it's just a traditional movement. We're just trying to put him in a position where he's able to, learn and develop and really see how he's supposed to handle things. Well, right now, he's seeing absolutely nothing. Like all he is seeing is what not to do. And maybe that's the positive to this whole thing. Maybe we see something where he's not able to make those same mistakes because he knows what not to do.
And let me tell you this, is that you said it earlier, Nova, is that if my man comes out and he's balling ass, then you know what? We don't got to worry about falling 3 picks behind in the draft because all of a sudden we got a little collateral.
Yeah.
And if anything, you say this is like, all right, he threw 3 touchdowns, they threw 4. Allen, you're back in the game, bitch.
Yes.
And by the way, wouldn't it have meant more for Will Grier to play versus a good Seahawks team today? Because let's just say, for example, they put in Will Grier versus New Orleans. It's very reasonable that New Orleans might be playing all backups at that point in time to make sure they're healthy for the playoffs.
And let's not fucking fool ourselves, guys. The last thing you need to believe, folks, is that these bitches know what the fuck they're doing.
No, they
Half
don't.
of the NFL don't know what they're doing. Number one, the NFL as a damn league don't know what the fuck they're doing because just look at all the bullshit that comes each week with the refs. Number 2, look at how many bad fucking teams there are in the NFL. Where are all these GMs that are so fucking brilliant? Sorry, they're not. And 3, we have watched a Carolina Panthers team, and you have been the champion of this, Cody, is that will not play players until someone's hurt. Right. So they say Will Grier's not ready, but I don't believe them.
And you shouldn't. You shouldn't believe him. So Christian Miller was another healthy scratch today. Brian shout out to
who gives a shit about Bruce Irvin at this point? He is not.
He ain't doing nothing for us.
Shout out to our listener friend Kyle Cottrell. Posted on Twitter a picture of Brian Burns standing on the sideline on a third down.
With a
just
cast on?
No, not with a cast on. Just not doing shit.
Just taking a nap.
Because they're not playing him.
Playing Sudoku.
They're just not playing him, and it's the same thing. Like Ron Rivera is very much still here in spirit. I do think that you were correct in that, man.
It is the fucking Scooby-Doo shit.
Dude. But so that's what I'm saying, man. Like we have to cut this coaching room at the end of this season. Bye, Eric Washington. Later, bro. Later.
Everybody. Everybody. Nobody. I mean, I'm talking down to Vermillion. I'm talking.
Oh, yeah,
and
sure.
that he should be the first
and he
one.
never gets enough.
And let me get the other one is I don't want to hear one more fucking time about John Matsko. And
being the best.
Being the
best. That was the case,
then our line wouldn't suck for 7 years.
Byron Bell would have still been here.
Yeah, he would have turned out. He would have turned out.
Y'all want to hear something crazy?
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with the Panthers. At Rams and Cowboys game, the Rams are receiving the kick at the first. They received the kick first, and they're receiving it at the beginning of the second half.
Why?
Apparently, there was some sort of a coin toss flub where Dak said he wanted to kick instead of defer. And so now they apparently got the opportunity to somehow it allowed the Rams to receive both kicks.
Okay.
Once again, The NFL. The fucking.
Yeah, we're not even done with our
Imagine
show.
how much fucking money the NFL could make if they weren't a piece of shit.
Yeah, way more.
I mean, they are the
Way
biggest
more.
sport ever, and they can't get the simplest shit right
No.
when it comes to my man fumbling today. How in the world was that? This is what I need to hear from the NFL. Was it Chris Carson hit the turf, and they're trying to see if somebody flicked his fucking little shoelace or something?
Yeah.
It should have just been this. Call stands.
Yeah.
Call stands. Not enough. Next call.
Yeah.
Thank you, G baby. I hope you come
Hey,
back
it's
for
G,
more.
baby. There's another thing I gotta say. I'm super drunk. You know, I'm flying in the sky. I
He's
live that
turned up.
colorful life.
That
Oh, God
colorful
damn it,
life.
man. This shit sucks. It's like, it's almost to the point where I'm not even mad that we lose anymore. Like, I don't even get upset. It's almost expected that we were going to get our ass kicked.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I just
Man, we
don't
losing
understand.
We looking for a top team.
It is
Yeah.
just heartbreaking, man.
Sad times.
Oh, sweet fucking Jesus, man. God damn it, man. Oh my God, it's the fucking Seahawks. The reason why this is hard for me, I live in Utah, so there's a
I
lot of
didn't see
fucking
Burns
Seattle
out there
fans
either
where
myself.
I'm
Was
at,
he out there, Coach?
and I have a lot of friends that are Seattle
What's who?
fans, and
Burns?
this is just
Not a
fucking,
lot.
God damn, man. I feel like honestly, dating back to 2012, if someone can tell me what is the record between the Seattle Seahawks and the Carolina Panthers, I feel like it's almost even. But I thought they got our fucking
Can't
number,
be
man.
now.
Like, I'm so fucking sick of this shit, man. Like, god damn.
Well, they beat
I'm
us by
sick
6
of
points instead of
losing,
3
yo.
this time.
Like,
Yeah.
on the last podcast.
Looking at the glass
We
half
suck.
full. That's
And
what
the
you
last
got.
It
time
used
I
to
said
always
that
be
we
1,
fucking sucked
3.
was the year we drafted Cam Newton back in 2011. Panther Nation, listen to what the fuck I'm saying, yo. We ain't shit without Cam Newton. Cam Newton is Carolina, goddammit. Fuck.
Gee, baby, always turn up, bro.
I'm just happy he
Always.
fucking showed up to the game. And it's just fucking quite funny that David Tepper is like, oh, Cam's an elite player. Like, as long as he's healthy, we're going to bring Cam back. I don't know if you guys noticed. Look on fucking Carolina fucking Panthers website. It's nothing but Cam Newton now. It's not, like, throughout the years, before David Tepper was
They're
you
like,
know, opening
please
his
still
mouth,
be
we didn't
fans.
see Cam Newton at all on the fucking Carolina website. And now all I see is Cam Newton's face. And I'm telling you right now, the relationship between David Tepper and fucking Cam Newton's a lot fucking closer than we think. And I honestly believe Cam Newton will retire a
This is
Carolina
Jeff Hodge.
Panther. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah, baby. Yeah, let's fucking go. Cam till I fucking die, baby. And I'm out.
G baby is trying to give Nova a run for fucking best caller.
I know, right?
Ah, man, he's coming hard. You said this. All right, Seahawks lead the series 9-4. All right, the 3-7 in the regular season. We're 3-7 and 1-2 in the postseason against them. The other thing is Jeff Hodge, Chef Jeff, your brother, your
My
cousin,
cousin,
your
yeah.
cousin. He has been saying that he believes that there's real thing going underfoot here, where Tepper has come to Cam and said, "Look, we're getting rid of Ron. We're gonna come back to you." And I don't know how you can't. If you're Tepper and you didn't feel that way, how you can't feel that way a little bit now.
Yeah, man. Well, especially because, listen, it's not hard to see how apathetic the Panther fans are right now, man. There is no hope for the. We are already talking about the draft, y'all. Like this season, we had high hopes.
Speaking of, one of the callers asked about
Right,
two people.
right.
What do you think about those cats?
But so listen, I would love to have either one of them. I just kind of feel like we're in need of that bigger body receiver on our football team. We don't have a red zone threat, man. Like we need someone that can go up and pinpoint the ball.
Like
So
Julio.
from that perspective, I'm looking at either Laviska
Antonio
Shenault from Colorado, or T. Higgins from Clemson. Y'all gonna say I'm just being a fanboy, but I'm not.
Yeah,
Homeboy
he
can
is.
go up, look up some T. Higgins highlights, and tell me you don't want that dude on the Carolina Panthers next year. 6'5", runs a 4.4, and can just go up and get the football. Dude, we're in need of that kind of player, man.
In the first
6'5"?
round?
But
we got. I want to see a 3-cone.
yeah, no, that is true because the bigger. But see, that's kind of what I'm saying though.
Well,
What's
DK
his
sucked
feet
on
like?
that. and
Right,
he's
right,
good.
right.
DK's
So,
good, though.
but if you add another receiver like that, you already have your shifty players and Curtis Samuel and DJ Moore, so they're gonna win in space. But I'm talking about when you just need someone to go up and get the football. We don't have that kind of
Bro,
receiver.
if we get a
on our
receiver in the
team
first
right now.
round, I'm about to fucking burn this bitch to the ground.
At
We
this-
better get an offensive or defensive lineman.
What about a
For
tight end?
real.
In the first, no.
Not
in the first round,
It's
bro.
not worth it in the
We got
first.
Ian Thomas, man. He's gonna be good.
I'm
Yeah.
tired on the idea that tight ends are worth a first round. If you go back to O.J. Howard, if you go back to
That was a
Eric
bust.
Ebron,
Well,
all of these guys are pretty good.
What's that boy David Njoku? He
David.
looked like Julio Jones coming out the draft.
Yeah.
And they don't make the impact that you need them to.
Yeah.
I'm to the point where I just want the build that wall, brother.
Hold on,
Yeah,
man.
man.
Austin Hooper and Zach Ertz.
yeah, I mean, there's some
those
good
are
tight
exceptions.
ends, and
They're
hey,
good.
Those first round.
the Baltimore
I think,
Ravens.
I want to get
no,
those
I don't think
bitches
so.
in the third. That's what I want. I want
No,
one
I
of
hear
those-
you.
How often do we see an impactful tight end taken in the
Taking
first
the first
round?
round, though.
Like in the first. I
It
mean,
was in vogue for a
Gronk,
little while.
Travis Kelce, maybe.
were those
Yeah,
first,
but think about Hunter Henry, all of these dudes.
Kittle.
Who's
Kittle
the-
was a third or fourth round
Yeah.
pick, right?
What happened to T.J. Hawkinson, man?
He was just
Oh,
drafted.
he was great, and then he been on the IR.
Yeah, this
Okay,
was his.
okay.
This was his.
But what about
rookie
what about the
season.
kid? This is that you have Dakota. Who's the kid that went to the Philly? His name's something Dakota.
Yeah, when I was still calling into the show.
Yeah? You liked him?
Dallas Goedert.
Dallas Goddard.
Dallas
I call him
Goedert.
Dakota.
Well,
Dallas.
the Dallas Goddard was a troll on the Cowboys though, because the day before.
Right, his
Witten
name
retired,
is Dallas,
and
Phil-
they drafted him even though they had Ertz in there.
yeah,
and
Philly
then
moved
the
up one
other
spot.
is the dude that's for Miami, who's
Oh,
actually starting to play pretty well. It starts with a G.
what's his name?
Gesicki.
Yeah, Mike Gesicki.
But
Yeah.
still, none of those dudes at the end of the day change your team
No,
significantly.
No.
That's why I'm okay. Like, we need to get pieces, but that doesn't mean I think we need some sort of elite talent at corner
Yes.
or on the line.
if I'm the Panthers, you only have three options in the first round and second round. It's either offensive line,
Yep,
defensive line,
or secondary.
or safety. Yeah,
Right.
a corner or a
There's
safety.
a lot of people
DBs.
that were
The
at the
Panthers have not drafted a safety in the first round since Thomas Davis, and he didn't stay a safety.
He became a linebacker.
Game. Yeah.
All right, let's go to the next call.
What's up, C3? Chef Jeff here.
Cousin,
Just watching Russell Wilson take the first knee before the end of the game.
Jason Garrett.
I have to be honest, man. I think, with the exception of Kyle Allen, I think our team played good enough to win today. I mean, I thought we were going to get blown out by 30 or 40 points, to be honest with you, and to bring it within 7 at the end of the game, that's pretty good. Defense seemed like it got, it got its mojo back a little bit in the second half.
I gotta read Austin.
I think we had like 4 or 5 stops in a row, which is, I mean, it's great if you're not, down by 20 points. It would have been great if they could have stopped at least 1 or 2 touchdown drives. But, I mean, you can't fault the defense for Kyle Allen giving up the ball so much. I'm of the belief that we are not going to see Will Grier. I mean, if he didn't get put in today after the performance of Kyle Allen,
Right.
he probably won't be put in.
Damn.
I don't know if they're
Maybe
saving
they'll
him
give him after a
or
week of
what. But
Which this
I was
should have
kind
been
of hoping to see him a little,
at,
in the second half
friendly.
today, and it just didn't happen. Kind of wanted to save this discussion for Tuesday, but I brought it up in the chat last week. Eric Reed I know San Francisco before he left there were rumors that they were going to try him at linebacker, and I honestly like that idea. I think he'd make an outstanding linebacker because God knows he can't cover as a safety as far as covering deep, but he's a great run stopper. Like I said, maybe we can say that for Tuesday. I don't know. Just over this season, I can't wait till next year. We got confirmation that Cam's coming back. I mean, that may just be bullshit, but it seems more and more like he is coming back next year. Like I've said before, you can't trade an unhealthy Cam Newton, and if he is healthy, why would you want to trade him?
Yeah.
Unless somebody's going to give you like 3 first-round picks or something.
That's all we've said the whole time. We've been so consistent.
Decent game today. Like I said, almost pulled it out. Probably got back 1 or 2 of those turnovers. We might would have won the game.
Yeah,
but
all right.
I'll be listening, guys. Keep pounding as always. Have a good day.
Cousin, thank you for your call, man. And that's exactly. Listen, I mean, he said what I said earlier, and I think it remains true. And that's how you know that they like Kyle Allen losing them football games. I mean, they have to at this point. There is nothing that could happen going on that hasn't already happened for the Panthers to bench him. How about this? I kind of think if Kyle Allen slapped Perry Fuel in the face, it still wouldn't be enough to get him benched. Like, it
doesn't make any sense.
Like,
I think it's this, is that I continue to say I believe it's because that Scott Turner, Perry Fuel, and these guys are playing for their jobs, and they believe that Kyle Allen is familiar enough with everything to give them potentially the best job for them to look well. Even if not winning, even just to look somewhat and Will Greer's the unknown. These guys are not going to be with the team, but it doesn't matter. It's time for David Tepper to come down on high. Marty Herney.
Yeah.
He needs to go to Marty Herney and say this. Marty, I've been nice to you. I'm letting you stick around, get a couple extra paychecks through the draft. You're going to be a senior advisor before you know it. But now it's time to be the bad guy. It's time to go in there and tell Kyle Allen to fucking pack up his chicken nuggets. He looks like a little baby sitting on the floor with Indian style, eating damn chicken nuggets, dipping them into ketchup, playing with his little McDonald's Happy Meal. He looks like a child, man.
Yeah.
He looks like a fucking child. So, and I'm sorry because I look like a child still. Someone says that to me, like I look young. But you know what? I'm fat enough to be an old man.
That's a compliment.
Yeah, it is. It ain't a compliment when you're a football player.
Okay, yeah, no, 100%
so, it doesn't make any sense why. Again, it's not like Will Grier is going to threaten our chances at the draft pick. None of this bullshit. I don't even understand it. And I think maybe we need to stop looking even towards the idea of Will Grier and start asking about Christian Miller, or start asking about a Marquise Haynes. Start asking about some of these other players that we really need to know.
I mean, you know what you have with Bruce Irving.
Yeah.
You know what you have with Mario Addison.
With
you know what you have with Gerald McCoy.
Yes.
I mean,
it's a chance to evaluate talent in a scenario that isn't preseason, where all the plays on offense and defense are as vanilla as they come.
And against also their reduced talent, too.
You are really getting a look.
You could have seen them against a motivated Seattle team
Seattle. But look, I mean, pick any of the past few games that we've had to play, man. We've had opportunities to especially since we've known that this rebuild or semi-rebuild or whatever the hell you want to call it, that it's inevitable. You want to know what kind of talent you have on your football team. And we're not even making the efforts to do that when we have a golden opportunity in front of our face to do so.
So I got a question.
Yeah.
So my question is, Kyle Allen, he's so-called give them the best chance to win.
Right.
From what I'm seeing today is the guy is making one read, he's not reading the field, and if he's trying to read the field, he's not seeing the field. So if Scott Turner was the quarterback coach, and now he's the offensive coordinator, and Kyle Allen is still isn't making any improvements as far as his reads and stuff, who's at fault?
That's a point that I made Tuesday.
Yeah, that's
it's
That's just a good point. That's just a good reason.
Yeah, there isn't really a good answer to it because it's a good point.
Yeah.
So should we just do a complete overhaul then?
Like it's
Well, we are doing that no matter what. I think Tepper did Scott Turner. I think Tepper was brilliant in 3 ways. And who was it we were talking to before the game?
Nick.
It was, we caught up with Nick Wilson for WFNZ,
Oh, really?
who does, Wilson and Parcell. They do the 10 o'clock show. And he was saying Tepper has done 3 brilliant things this year. First, he let go Ron Rivera in a way that gave Ron Rivera an opportunity to get out there and go say, look at me, and audition. So you leave on friendly terms with
Amicable
Ron Rivera.
divorce.
Yeah. And then the next brilliant thing was, I believe he said, the Scott Turner appointment.
Yeah.
And he didn't
like
go
that.
as far as we have said, and we pointed this out in the show, I know I did, and that is, you're kind of worried about, well, we fired Ron, and now we got your brother Norv over here, your cousin Norv. What do we do with him? They demoted Norv. Norv is 0. Like, Norv, they told the old guy to go stand over there.
Yeah, pretty much.
But then his
He was
son,
assistant something.
his
Assistant.
assistant head coach, who is not even on nowhere. Has anybody seen him?
No, they actually on the broadcast they did show him in the booth.
Oh.
And Ron Barber was talking about him, but they were basically saying the same thing. Like, it's basically just there being the old head now.
Yeah. So that's brilliant though, because you give Scott Turner an opportunity
While still feeling like he belongs.
Right.
somewhere.
Yes,
Kinda
to
like
audition.
Upset about the organization, while also providing some sort of some might even call it a board of executives for Perry Fuel if there is a question about how practice should be run. How should I handle this situation?
And then the third brilliant point is not firing Marty Herney outright, but also being clear that you're phasing him out. And so for all of y'all jerks who continue to pick on Tony in the chat room, Nick, I saw you. But these are the things that I have been saying for weeks now.
Yeah.
How awesome is it that you keep Scott Turner with the team invested and fire Norv at the same time? That would have been impossible in any other scenario.
Yeah.
And then last, I think this is I'm on this train. I think it's Nick Caserio and Josh McDaniels coming to Carolina, and Nick Parcell said this. He said that in the last year, and he didn't go into detail of why, but he said that David Tepper and Josh McDaniels have been orbiting each other. I don't know.
McDaniels from the Patriots.
Yeah.
Yeah, the offensive coordinator.
the
from-
offensive
And then,
coordinator.
and also their player personnel guy. So you would bring in the guy who has basically been the guy who is the GM of the Patriots, because he's not the GM because that's Bill Belichick.
Right.
But if you brought them together as a couple, and I don't believe Tepper is going to be foolish enough to go hire a coach and then also believe you can just find any GM that thinks a certain way and match
It's gonna
them.
match, no.
Is that they might be good for a little while, but you need 2 guys coming in that are walking and talking
Right.
in lockstep.
Right. And look at the Jets. Every other year, the Jets have a new general manager, and they never get the chance to pick the head coach.
Robbie Switzer says Norv didn't get demoted. It was his decision. He didn't want to be the interim coach.
Interim coach.
And I want to say this, is that what evidence do you truly have for that?
Well, so I did say this on our show. Maybe it was like a respect for Ron Rivera
right?
type
Maybe,
thing.
but I
So,
think it's an
yeah.
assumption still.
Yeah, we have no evidence one way or the
Norv
other.
doesn't have a good track record as head coach.
No, he does not.
He's had some man, he was tough with the Redskins. That's not his fault. They stunk in the 8 when he took over. In San Diego, Norv wasn't the pro. I think that Tepper was very smart. He said this, is Norv's career's over.
Yeah.
He actually gave these guys a real good opportunity.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, it was smart because, I mean, he's got the PR aspect of it because he's showing respect to Ron to let him go now to be able to get his interviews in early. because that is going to be like if you wait till after the season, he's got such a leg, like just such a handicap on getting the job that he wants that it's not even it's not even worth.
Today might have gotten him a job alone.
Yeah.
Is that he ran 6 plays in a row, I feel like. In what quarter was that? The second?
Yeah,
or
well,
whatever? And it was just motion. We didn't throw the ball at all until the end. Like, he was able to create misdirection a lot. It was wonderful, I thought. It was masterful, I would say.
That's after 1 full week of preparation as as the offensive coordinator. Just think about if he had an entire offseason to be able to develop his own playbook.
That's what I was thinking.
I mean, I honestly think that you put a position, like, allow him to think about things like that as opposed to just one. Like, he's got 1 week. I mean, he doesn't have the ability to create a whole new type of a game plan for his offense, which I think, requires him to be somewhat vanilla, but he has found a way to make it creative, at least to the best of his ability. And that direct snap to Curtis Samuel, I think that was an accident. That looked amazing, though.
But when we look back at it, he's running his dad's playbook, not his own playbook.
Yeah, that's true.
But he has put a little of his own stamp on it.
By the way he's using the personnel.
Right.
I'm just getting ready
Curtis
to say
Samuel. I think Curtis Samuel's the example there.
Right.
Well, it seems like he's going to the parts of the playbook that are reserved for very special situations, and he said, why do these have to stay in this position? That's just so... that's just so basic to say. I'm only going to run this motion if our run game isn't working. Just
We
to get
ran motion
off.
on every play today. It seemed like.
Well, look what 49ers are doing. That's what all they do.
It worked against us.
But to answer your question, North's so old school. He's old school back like Dallas Cowboys. Well,
yeah, 1960s.
Yeah, so he want to keep the same players in. Running the whole playbook. No, man, you got to use your guy's skill set.
And we don't have a Michael Irvin. No. And we don't have an offensive line like the Cowboys have. No. And to be fair to someone that I trash more than anybody, Mike Shula, is his offense was not a bad offense. It was just predicated on certain things working.
I got a lot
number one, your receivers catching the ball.
Yeah.
You have when you have low percentage plays that by their nature, you're throwing the ball 15 yards, field, like that is by their own nature, they're a low percentage play. Right. But when you've got alligator arms and they can't catch it, that causes a problem. And then second,
when you got Ted Ginn Jr. dropping 2 touchdown passes in the Super Bowl.
And then if you get an offensive line that can't give you any protection there, the play action wasn't working. I actually say this is Mike Shula probably did his best job as a coach. Period.
Oh, absolutely.
With the Carolina Panthers, even though we trashed on him, that was the best he could do.
And earlier this year, I don't remember who it was. I think I got some pushback for you. I said that there's not a whole lot of difference between the play calls that Norv Turner was calling and what Mike Shula. Remember that NFC Championship game against the Cardinals? We were using Ted Ginn on jet sweeps. We were using Philly Brown like that.
He was feeling it that year, wasn't he?
We were doing some different shit, and then Norv Turner really got the credit for, oh wow, look at this new Panthers offense and the new looks that they're incorporating. We've been doing them, but this Panthers offense has better personnel to do those kinds of things. DJ,
we just don't got a line.
Right. So,
and we don't got a line.
And we didn't have a line in 2015. We didn't have any receivers either.
I would say in 2000,
at least in 2015, we had a line that played every week.
I would say in 2015,
you know what I mean? They did play all the way to the end.
The offensive interior, I think, was really good. I think that Trey Turner played his best. It was probably the final year of a Pro Bowl. Ryan Khalil and Andrew Norwell playing the type of play that got him paid in Jacksonville.
It was Remmers hit the wall in week 12, right? So in week 12, he starts going downhill. Or was on skates, but and I mean also these guys went against the best defensive front.
Or was more than serviceable.
Yeah,
he wasn't.
The problem. The thing is all 5 of the guys played from week 1 to week 18,
right,
in the same spot. So even if it wasn't perfect, they were there each week. There was a certain continuity. And we have not had any continuity on the offensive line. And someone said it, and go back the chat. There was a comment in the
one
chat
that
room.
I pointed out.
And
Right there.
You
Scroll
see
down.
it?
Austin Gosnell.
Right here.
Nobody wants to go O-line because it's not the flashy pick. But when you're in this position, that's why we're in this position of no O-line, because everyone wants the flashy pick. Everyone wants a receiver. Everyone wants a defensive end. Dude, I remember me and Brother Herbert going at the same conversation last year. Oh, we need defensive line. I'm like, no, man, even
when we picked McCaffrey, it would not have been a irresponsible pick to pick like a tackle.
Now I love it, but at the time, I wasn't in love with the Christian McCaffrey pick.
Yeah.
I wanted
Fournette.
That's
who I wanted.
Well, I think a lot of Panthers fans did, but I think that when we saw that, obviously he was going to go to the Jaguars before us. There was, it was going to take too much to trade ahead of him, but I think we definitely got the better end.
Which apparently we tried to do. David Gettleman called the Giants or whoever had the number 2 pick, but they weren't giving it up. He wanted Fournette.
Thank Jesus. Imagine Fournette on this team.
It'd be like Jonathan Stewart 2.0.
He would have quit. He would have quit. He would have been like this.
Wasn't that what's that boy? I think that came out of that defensive end, that first round draft pick that year.
Was it? There was Jonathan Allen. Was one.
Nick Chubb, I know.
Nick.
Not Nick Chubb.
Derek Barnett.
Derek Barnett.
Derek Barnett played at Tennessee, went to Philadelphia.
There was Jonathan Allen was that year?
Yeah, Jonathan Allen and Solomon Thomas.
And I think the Chubb you're thinking of was the one that Nick Chubb.
Yeah.
And that might have been, I don't know if that was...
Hold on,
no, not the Brown. No, the one from Denver.
2018.
Yeah.
Bradley Chubb's a defensive end.
The guy that came from State. He played from State. All right, you're listening to the C3 Panthers podcast post-game show, guys. We've been doing this show since 2013. We haven't missed a week. We added the post-game in, I think, last year, and it's been a massive success because you guys love to hang out and talk Panthers with us. You make this show. Go ahead and call into the Cat Calls line numbers 252-228-5098. Smash the thumbs up button and do this. Help us grow by sharing the show with one friend. That's all you got to do. You know a Panthers fan? Send them a link to the show, and it doesn't have to be live. Send them the link on iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn. We're on all the podcast apps. And if you're feeling frisky, donate. Who cares? I don't care. I just want you to care about the Panthers. Here we go. Next call.
Panthers podcast. How y'all doing?
G.
Cavassier.
What's up, G?
Hey, man. I'm so sick and tired of damn losing, man. Lord have mercy, man. First of all, shout out to DJ Moore because once again, he played his damn ass off. Yo, we need to damn release or cut Dante Jackson come off season. That dude fucking sucks, man. All that speed that boy got, he let a damn rookie beat him. Metcalf, he let a damn fucking rookie beat him. Come on now, man. What the hell is going on? You know what I'm saying? Who's the worst cornerback, him or Corn Elder, man? Like, for real, man. This shit was horrible, man. We started coming back towards the damn end. But to me, the play calling was horrible until the fourth quarter. It's just, we're a damn mess, man. Hopefully, the new coach that we get fires some damn people, like, for real. And we need to get out of that 3-4 defense and stick with the 4-3. For the love of God, stick with the 4-3. I mean, we look bad today. Even though we only lost by 6 points, this looks bad, man. It looks, man, this is horrible, man.
I think it's the same thing.
Like, we look a damn mess. And I don't know about y'all, but I'm sick and tired of fucking losing. We have a daggone good-ass squad. I don't know why we keep losing. It's like Kyle Allen should have got pulled after that third interception, man. 3 interceptions, going to keep him, man? Man, please, man. Anyway, keep your head up, y'all, and always remember, y'all, keep pounding.
Thanks, G. You're the man. World famous G. Cavassier. Thanks for calling in to the Cat Calls. The number's 252-228-5098. Now, briefly, let's talk about this. Is it Nova? Is it a 3-4? Is it the 4-3? Is that the problem?
Well, they were running the 4-3. It's neither the 3-4 or 4-3. It's the play calling, man.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm telling you, our defensive coordinators out there calling plays like I used to call when I first started learning to play Madden. So I'm quite sure these other defensive coordinators, offensive coordinators, other teams just looking at these guys like, but if they want to play the 3-4, then they gotta learn how to coach the 3-4, coach the run fits and stuff like that, and they gotta learn how to call the play calls based upon the offensive lineup and the offensive play type that the offense is trying to run. Obviously, whoever's supposed to be at the helm of the calls, obviously is. I can't say Ron Rivera's inexperienced because he did real good out there in San Diego with the 3-4, but he wasn't the coordinator. He was the defensive back coach out there at the time. I think he got promoted to coordinator later, but right now it don't look like that to me. So.
And Tony, what did you look over and say to me during that G call? We were so excited about that 3-4 at the start of this year, weren't we? Okay, well, we were excited because we saw our 4-3 defense get the shit kicked out of them a number of times. So now we're excited for the 3-4.
We couldn't get any pressure on the quarterback.
Now the 3-4 is getting the shit kicked out of them, and now we're all excited to go back to a 4-3.
Well, we have reason to be.
Yeah, well, no, and there's
well, yeah, this is what it really comes down to when it comes to this question is that is it truly a 3-4 or 4-3 that's the problem, or is it like Nova's saying, the play calling kind of being able to coach that system along with the proper personnel. I don't want to hear this crap about, well, we lost KK, and that changed everything.
that was his next point.
It does hurt. It does hurt. It does hurt. And then losing Poe makes it impossible.
Yeah.
But when we were talking to Nick Wilson before, he said that we didn't have the personnel to run a 3-4. And I have to disagree. I thought we specifically and explicitly had the 3-4 personnel.
Yeah.
And yes, KK falling does hurt. Making McCoy try to be more of a one tech or whatever than he truly is.
That's not what we brought him.
It hasn't worked well. But I feel like the one thing that I'm worried about going back right away is, going back to the 4-3 is, do we negate a lot of the talent that we invested in? And maybe we don't, because look, a lot of these guys are expendable. The only question we got is how is Brian Burns going to fit into the team? But here's the good news. He can't fit in any less next year because he hasn't fit in this year.
Yeah, 100%.
Let me say something real quick to that, to the going from the 3-4 back to the 4-3. In the 4-3, I don't think we have the personnel to go back to a straight base 4-3 now because all our defensive ends are basically linebackers.
Yeah, they're lean.
Yeah. They're not thick, heavy.
We don't have a Charles
We don't have
Johnson.
space eaters.
Yeah.
They don't set a physical
guys
edge.
to come off the edge no more. Them tackles out there looking like that's all they got to do.
So then we're basically we're saying that we're in no man's land. That we really don't have 100% personnel to fit a 4-3. We don't really have the best personnel to fit a 3-4.
So maybe that's why we've never seen a hybrid style of defense. Like
maybe we're too non.
Because a hybrid is bullshit. You gotta have, and I don't know, is that Nick Wilson, and he was so nice to talk with us. He spent a lot of time with us on the sidewalk talking today. So support WFNZ, Nick and Parcell, but I do disagree on this point, but I didn't fight him on it, and that is that we don't have the personnel for it. Is that I thought Poe was finally where we saw him starting to at least be a positive asset.
Yeah.
Because he is a zero tech, at least I thought. He is a space eater. The question, though, is that now we might learn a lot about what we want to do going forward when we go into the draft or in free agency, because we're going to have to try to commit. If we do go back to a 4-3, which could, in G's defense there, could benefit a Luke Kuechly, who has looked out of sorts in this defense. He's just been frustrated. He hasn't been bad, but he hasn't been good. Is that he might benefit from a 4-3, but it's going to take going a Nick Bosa. It's going to be going and getting a guy that you believe is a big body boy who can still get pressure.
Chase Young.
So with the talent that we have now, going into the draft, if we're not going to the offensive line, or we going to that defensive line, we need to start with a big zero tech who's nasty at the line of scrimmage and who's a mauler.
Yeah.
So-
it wouldn't be a bad idea.
Do you feel like the priority is that defensive line?
I think so. I think it is. And the reason I think so is we did put Greg Little on IR, but I think it was because of his ankle. Please tell me it was his ankle and not his head.
Concussion,
Right. As long as it's his ankle and not his head.
Yeah.
Like, we've invested there. We've invested in Moton.
Yeah.
It's not like Darrell Williams is going to go get any money anywhere else. We invested in Paradis. And I wouldn't be upset with us going and getting it, but we need just as much on the defensive line now as we need on the offensive.
Yeah, no, that's not an overstatement.
But how much of this issue is the offensive line as well? I mean, even today, when some of those sacks that Kyle Allen took were once again where he just refused to move in the pocket. One time he gave up, he lost 7 yards, and he still had like 5 yards in front of him.
In front of him all game long.
And he just literally does this.
Stand there.
And then waits there for 3 seconds before somebody can get to him.
Up into his
That
pocket.
offensive line would not look as bad if Cam was back then.
No, and, so someone even said in our chat room earlier.
And thank God for Dennis Daly.
Yeah.
Thank God for Dennis Daly.
Yeah,
I know
no, that
people
was
have
a
been
great
trenching
pick.
on him, but
That was a great pick. And, I have said this earlier, and someone said it in the chat earlier. It's hard to evaluate Scott Turner for his play calling when we have a quarterback that has maybe the worst arm talent mixed with pocket awareness that I've ever seen.
Wait a minute, man. Taylor Heineke ain't had it like that.
But no, you're right. He definitely didn't. But man,
thank God he
it's-
didn't
it's
have to watch
bad.
Jimmy Clausen.
I would. Hey,
Oh my goodness.
I might prefer Taylor Heineke to Kyle Allen. At this
But Taylor,
I
because he
would.
can
I
see
would.
the field.
Yeah, that's what I'm
We
saying.
Heineke had way
Right.
more.
And
number
he,
one,
and
had
he
a-
beat him out, too.
Yeah,
He had a
won
much
the
more
job.
successful college career as well, and so you have that. He's got a track record of success where he's
Yes.
gone. He's broken records at ODU, right?
I don't know why we parted with him.
because I think it had a
cost
lot.
more money too.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you're going to have that, but I think he's still more athletic. I think he gave you more of what Cam was than Kyle Allen does. Yeah. I think he's a little bit more of the athletic type than Will Grier. Will Grier has a lot more like of that burst initial speed, but he doesn't have
I
the.
still tell you, you know what? We could have used Tyrod Taylor.
Taylor
That's it.
Heineke is more like a Ryan Tannehill-ish with his skill set as far as short and intermediate passes. He's good, but he don't got the arm for the deep ball.
that's
Tannehill at least got an arm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to the next call.
What's going on, C3? It's Theo from Asheville again.
What's up, Theo?
I just want to make a quick point. The game just finished. I'm actually really proud of how the team played today. With nothing to really
think
fight
it's a good
for.
point.
We
did not.
really dug in and fought hard. Besides a few key mistakes here and there, time management, we played a pretty good game. At least, I feel like we always like to play to the level of our competition, no matter who we're playing.
So Josh,
Example, Falcons. But,
Did they?
for who we were facing today, I think it was a really good performance from our Panthers. I just wanted to say,
The Patriots.
Luke Kuechly, we obviously know how talented he is, and his football IQ is, through the roof. He just knows so much about the game. And, I just really hate for the Panthers to waste Luke Kuechly in his prime. I feel like he's getting to those years where, he's still such a great football player and still knows the game, but he's starting to lose a step or two. And not this year, probably not even the next, but we gotta start looking at this. And if we really want to rebuild the roster, I'm afraid of how long it'll take to get our team to where we want to be. And I really just don't want to throw away those precious years with, this possibly the best defensive player in the history of the Panthers. It'd be really sad to see all that talent wasted. So I want to know your opinion on what we do with the future of our franchise, if that's a rebuild.
So thanks for the call, Theo. I was going to just keep rolling through because we got a couple more calls to go, but I do think this is a tough question. who is safe, right? Is anyone safe on the roster? And I felt like this is that what we said is like if you gave us 3 picks for Cam Newton, all of a sudden we're interested in talking. What does it take for you to get Christian McCaffrey from us? Is he fully safe? Is Luke Kuechly and look, all of these guys, because of the way Panther fans are, and we the organization we have been, we would say none of those guys are touchable, right? They're untouchable.
Right.
If you give me your first and second for the next 3 years, I might.
Right.
Yeah. It
Is
have
that,
to be a
but
haul.
what good is it having a great player on a terrible team, though? And it harkens back to the era of Steve Smith on this team with nobody to get him the ball. And for 3 years, Steve Smith was on the shelf. And I always said, if you put him on the Colts, he's a first ballot Hall of Famer at that time.
Easily.
And
So,
Cam Newton for the last 7
yeah,
years.
that I think right now is that I don't think people can give us enough for Cam Newton. I don't think anybody's going to give us
I don't think
enough.
anybody's willing to do that.
I
Right.
wouldn't do it at all.
I don't know what about Luke. And that's the question there is what does it is Luke untouchable, Cody?
I would still say yeah, and here's why. I think that if we're going to evaluate Luke's talent going forward, and if we just base it off of what we see this season, I could easily see a scenario where he goes to another football team that has some better pieces on defense. And listen, he might never be 2015 or 14 Luke Kuechly ever again. I think we all know that. Like we can all
He's
be
pretty
honest
damn
with
good
ourselves.
last year and the
I
year
don't want to
before.
be honest with myself.
Yeah, I know. I don't want. Listen, man. I love Luke Kuechly, man. That's the favorite defensive player that I've ever known and followed. I still think that we were talking about Dante Jackson and G talked about Dante, and the narrative for these two players are similar. Like, I'm not gonna throw the baby out with the bathwater on either of those two guys this year. Yeah, they're not playing great, but again, no one on this football team is, and I think that if we have better players around Luke Kuechly, to have that kind of presence, that kind of film studier that knows the offense, knows what the quarterback's going to check to, knows how to tell the defensive tackles to get in position. I'm just, if we're going to try and be competitive anytime in the next two or 3 years, you don't give up that kind of a play.
The interesting part to that, though, and I'll
Yeah.
agree with that, Luke seemed like he was indecisive today. And what I mean by
He's
that,
been seemed like that for the last month.
Right.
But I'm wondering where that comes from. Because he's always been, I know what the next thing is. Well, I know what's
I'm
coming.
telling you, man. Yeah,
And
it's
it
been
hasn't been
something's
happening.
wrong with Luke.
Is it that there's something wrong with Luke? Or is it that he's questioning the play calling? Or is it that...
Well, there was one play today where one of the corners started to trail a player.
He told him to go back.
And he told him to go back. They
And then
hiked the ball. Then it goes there, and he didn't. Luke didn't go out there.
Yeah.
That was one of the touchdown plays, I think, or got
That
down
was
to
one
the
that
one.
was the first down. It was like a third down. But the one you're talking about was also one because he held his head like, oh my gosh, what
He
did I
was
do?
so mad, and we couldn't tell if he was mad at Eric Reed himself. And, he has never played in a 3-4. So this is, this is going to be a learning curve for him. But we also know, too, is that it doesn't matter if it's a 4-3 or a 3-4. We've seen this in the past. This was in 1 year where our defense, I think it might have been 2017, our offense was better than our defense. We had a pretty good year, but the defense was not the one that was carrying the team that year. That year, remember, we went to Detroit and killed New England in New England.
Yeah.
In that year, Luke seemed to regress. And we had a small momentary conversation. And a lot of people said this. A lot of people who really know football more than I do said guards are getting to the next level.
I was calling it the cat calls.
And you're saying, and this is what your point has been for weeks now. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. And I'm all right. Luke has made his bones.
Yeah.
It don't matter. I'm not worried about him, even if he is regressing. Is that as long as his head, he ain't getting concussions, I'm okay. The question is this: is today, was it a mistake to start Dante Jackson? Or at least did he start? They announced him like a starter.
Well, the thing is, I don't know if it's a matter of a mistake to start him. I think they are not using him effectively. I think that he's, even though we're more of a zone type of secondary for whatever reason, he needs to be matched up on their fastest guy.
He should have been on the little baby Tyler Lockett all day. It should have been little guy versus the little guy.
There should never be
Tyler Lockett would have blew the dust off of him.
Yeah, because Tyler Lockett is special, bro.
Yeah.
That mug is special.
But Dante Jackson, he's got, like you said, like Cody says, he's got the talent. The guy's got the talent. He's just got dirty eyes. He got a bad habit of looking at the quarterback. And if the rush is not getting to the quarterback, Dante loses his guy, leaves him wide open, and boom, you got him. Got us getting hit over the top every time.
And a lot of is that deep ball, and you know what? I want people to be fair to Trey Boston. I think Trey Boston has been. You think he's been bad or good? I think he's been
mediocre.
Yeah, that's what we thought he would be.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like we didn't think he was gonna come in there and.
Thought he'd be better than Colin Jones and Rashad Gary?
That's what I said. Is Pat Coltrane? If you listen, Pat Coltrane, Baby Bubba, he said this. He's like, and all y'all were calling for Trey Boston, and I hated Trey Boston his first stint here, but I said, well, what would you rather have? Pollen Pones out there?
Yeah, and so real quick, I want to make sure that we get the
Tree
shout out
50.
to
Thank
Tree
you,
50.
brother.
Tonight's discussions on point, slapping, on tap. Thanks, you, man. Appreciate the donation. And then on top of that, yeah, I mean, so like, look, man.
How did you read that, by the way?
Well, I just assumed like on point, like well, you know.
You got it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I couldn't read that. It looks like dang.
I figured. I mean, what else would you be saying to donate?
Well, I mean, I thought he could have said this, is that like I was crushing Chips Ahoy cookies, and I thought it was code.
Yeah, that's right.
I thought, as Cody sent me a message one day, he's like, I just crushed some Chips Ahoy cookies, and I was like, what does that mean for you young kids today?
I'm like, it just means I was eating some cookies. That's all that means, man.
All right, so back to...
question.
Yeah, which was Trey Boston. Is that look? Because nobody thought he was going to be a real.
I feel he's made some really good plays. And by the way, I don't know if anyone's watching the content that the Panthers upload to their YouTube channel, but they do.
Because they have less followers than us on YouTube.
But I'm telling you, though,
they have the smallest YouTube following on the earth. The Panthers. The Panthers have like 50,000 subs.
I tell you what,
and they're the fucking team.
Whenever you hear Trey Boston on the microphone. He is getting in this team's ass, motivating players, and I mean he's really that one guy in our locker room that's like, that's really trying to make these guys be the best versions of themselves. And I think
if we didn't have him and Gerald McCoy, we'd be a lifeless group of people.
Yeah, man, just a bunch of young guys that are mad at the play calling. So, yeah, man, I'm not mad at Trey Boston. I wouldn't even be mad to bring him back for another year, just so that way. It's not a hole to fill.
And so we don't have to. We need to draft a safety in the first round if we don't.
Yeah, for 100%.
Something I seen today with Trey Boston when Russell Wilson threw that ball. He was beat good.
Yeah.
When Russell Wilson threw that ball, I was watching that play, and I seen Russell Wilson looking one way over towards Dante Jackson way, and when he looked that way, the guy came across, and Trey Boston. He bit on it because he looked them off real good. Then he looked back and he came back, and Trey Boston was out of place. So
were they picking on Dante today?
Yeah, but I think that the Panthers put them in scenarios to pick on Dante, kind of like what CK was saying. But I mean, we're also not taking responsibility away from Dante Jackson because he is making bonehead plays. But at the same time, yeah, you mentioned it earlier, Tony. You don't expect Dante Jackson to shut down DK Metcalf.
No,
like come on, that ain't happening.
Do we think this is what is needed for him to be able to realize that maybe I need to be coachable because it doesn't feel like he's coachable.
Josh Norman wasn't coachable.
How about this? This is a good question for everybody. I thought Dante had potential, even though he's smaller, to be an outside corner
and play whoever out there. Right?
Maybe I was wrong. Does Dante need to be a nickel corner, that slot corner, to stop guys?
Well, I think I don't think the answer is to cut him.
No.
You know what I'm
definitely.
saying?
You don't cut him. Yeah,
Is
you
that-
definitely
I
don't.
think
Cannot
having him
cut.
on. I mean, look, is he started since day one? He's been up and down, yes,
Right.
but we don't have a luxury of talent
After
to
that-
cut people right now. That's like saying we're going to cut Brian Burns because well, I won't say that because we're going to a 4-3 next year.
Yeah.
That don't make no. We don't have gluttony of riches. If you're an asshole that steps outside of the protocol, and we've got 5 guys that can play similar to you, then that's one thing. But we ain't got a guy behind you that can do shit.
Yeah.
Right.
Ross Cockrell.
Yeah, and that, I mean, and God bless him, but he's more a little bit like Bradbury, if anything, in that. And you know what?
But
Is
he
none
plays
of these guys are great.
He plays
None of,
discipline.
yeah, he is. He is like a heady guy, and then Bradbury generally does. I feel like, but none of these are great. We don't have the luxury, and Bradbury might not come back next year. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, how many people can you replace?
Yeah.
I wouldn't even give Bradbury all that money though.
Yeah, I don't think
I
I
agree.
would.
Give him all that money.
I think I'd give him okay money, but
I
not.
give him Justin Trufant money.
Yeah, I mean that's reasonable though. You know.
All right, next call.
What's up, C3? Chef Jeff again, real quick.
Chef Jeff.
Just watching the pregame for the Dallas game, and I'm just gonna put this out there: Zeke Elliott is a bottom. That's all. Keep pounding.
Dang, that's messed up.
Hey,
Next
what's
call.
going on? This is
So that
Brandon
might be-
Herbert.
No, he didn't call him gay. He called him.
Interesting game. I mean, we knew that we weren't going to win, so I'm
Yeah,
not
I
even
mean-
upset or anything anymore. Just a few points that I wanted to do.
This is Brother Herbert.
First off,
Yeah.
our defense is terrible.
It's awful.
And-
You're right, brother.
Like I said, I'm not trying to make excuses for Luke, but just watch the film and you'll see he has. Now he picked a couple bad holes, but you can see that the defensive line, the offensive lineman is like pushing him back, and that's not how that's supposed to go. I think we just need to scrap our whole secondary. I've made excuses because I like the kid. I thought he had a lot of potential, better than Bradbury and everything like that. But Dante Jackson is cocky for no damn reason. So we just need to scrap the whole secondary. I don't know what happened to the pressure that we were generating earlier. I don't know if it's injuries or what. Maybe Dontarie Poe made a bigger difference than I thought, because he actually played pretty well before he got injured. So I don't know about that.
KK.
Now, on the positive side,
But you got to be ready
our
to weather
offense
injuries.
with a competent quarterback and a decent offensive coordinator. I like what I know he probably won't be ours
Marquise?
next year, but I like what he's been doing, and I'm interested to hear what you think. But I like what Scott Turner has been doing with Curtis Samuel, and the play design was a little bit more crisp than it has been in the last few games, or all year really. And you can see, because the receivers are getting open. Kyle Allen's just a bum. If we can get rid of a bum, that offense can be something special. I don't want to, waste away
I think special is a little
CMC's
generous.
good years
It's 'cause
on
Christian
just bad
McCaffrey,
offensive
special.
coordinator and a bad quarterback.
In the league right now.
But I like what they're doing with
There's
Curtis
a
Samuel,
reason
DJ
Jones
Moore.
is number 3.
I love what he's doing. He's
Kyle
actually,
Allen only
he
looks
was
at one
coming in the
receiver.
league 4th in receiving yards, if y'all didn't know. He's been doing great. The offense can be good. The offense can be a playoff caliber offense, in my view, right now.
You add Cam to
The
this
defense,
team, and that offense is
no.
pretty nasty, yo.
All
right, so here's the thing: is Brother Herbert's right? Is the problem with this is the defense, and look, it's been the same thing. Unfortunately, well, I said this in the very first quarter: is this same fucking team we saw last week, 4 weeks ago, 2 months ago? Is that for a moment we had an idea that without Cam our season wasn't over? What did I tell you guys? Without Cam, season
was,
over.
yeah.
And then all of a sudden we had this brief little lightning in the bottle type moment where we go, oh, maybe it's not all the way over.
Yeah.
But it is. And all the holes on the offense that Cam covers up, the offensive line, the hole.
Right.
These other guys, they would have been doing the same thing. Christian McCaffrey is a gem, dude. He's sensational. Even when they know, they put 8 in the box against him, and somehow he squirts through for 6, 7 yards.
Yeah,
still.
man.
It's
Yeah.
insane. DJ Moore, yes. I think DJ Moore, though, has benefited from Kyle Allen because he can't look but anybody but is it the X? Is that the way, like, if we're playing Madden, is that, like, it's this. It's like this. And he's the one with the red line, and you're like, I can only look at him. Scott Turner, though, was very good today because he manufactured plays in the run game that were not exclusively Christian McCaffrey being sensational.
And it made the defense have to account for every motion. It wasn't like a motion where it's motion just for the sake of seeing whether
sometimes
they're
it felt like Norv did. It's just like, just run them across to see what they do.
Just to see if we're in man or if we're in zone, see what type of defense we have as much as we possibly can, at least before pre-snap.
When they brought DJ Moore, they motioned DJ, I think, into the backfield, and then you go, oh, we're dropping a receiver in to be extra blockers. Nope. We're handing it to DJ. It was like it was very good.
Yeah, I agree, and I think it was unpredictable. But I also wonder, does it become predictable after this week?
Well, what you want is an offensive coordinator who's going to use the talent like it should be. He's going to maximize the talent, and that's what Scott did. Norv wasn't doing that with the guys.
Yeah, I agree, and I think he's realizing Kyle Allen is having trouble getting the ball to the receivers down the field. So let's get it to him in the backfield.
The problem has been twofold. Kyle Allen, actually today was the first day that we didn't see the threefold problem. Kyle Allen, the defense against the run, and usually special teams. Yeah. Today was the first day that, and by the way, I hung out with my boy last night, so I come into Charlotte, old friend, we catch up, we stay up late and talking and stuff, and he goes, this lady that works with me is a big Clemson fan, and she said, oh Lord, when they signed Ray, you know what they called Ray? Drop. That's what she called. She said, at Clemson, we called him Drop.
Yeah, and he did drop a lot. Listen, I'm a Clemson fan. Ray dropped a lot of passes, and I told y'all that he was either in danger of two things. He was either going to drop the pass or he was going to take it all the way back to the end zone. But it was always either or, and sadly, he never did that end zone thing when he was in Carolina.
There was no way that Herbert's call was 17 seconds.
No, that was Chef Jeff.
Hey, what's going on? This is
That's Herbert right here. All right, here we go.
Yeah, sorry about that. But I can't wait to start this whole thing over with a new... if we get an offensive mind and get a good defense coordinator, you see what Wade Phillips is, just get a great defensive mind. And just get somebody that can be fresh. If we get Greg Williams, it will be a great sign that we're going to keep Cam Newton, because I really have never seen him work with his offense work with a stationary quarterback. It could probably, but he is phenomenal with mobile quarterbacks. So I am all in on Greg Williams. Greg Roman. I don't know. I know that y'all have y'all candidates and everything, but I am all in on Greg Roman. You can, just look at the track record he's had with these mobile quarterbacks. They have all had success under him, and I am all in on that. I think that we should keep Cam for at least one more year, because let's be honest. If he keeps on getting hurt and everything, as much as we all love him, he's not doing our team any good. But since we have him on this 1 year contract, we can try to see what he can look like if he's healthy. But I'm for making the Panthers better. So if you're going to get rid of Cam, you present me with a better option. Don't give me Kyle Allen. So
you're right
as
about
much
that.
as I'm
All right,
fans
stop your
of
call there,
individuals,
Brother Herbert, because I want to talk about the coach real quick. Is that you guys have, for Cody has been saying this, is that if anything, been consistent, right? You've called for Ron Rivera to be fired. You've called for us getting an offensive-minded coach. And I was resistant for a little while for a couple of reasons. One, as I thought that, hey, I like what I thought was this internal strength of Ron that you even saw in the Amazon show, All or Nothing, when in that Pittsburgh game he lets them have it.
Got
with that,
mad.
you know, and I like that, Ron. And I thought for so long Ron showed a lot of things that in the last couple of years didn't work anymore. He couldn't keep the team going. We were hot in December early in his career, and that always said, you know what, we can build on this, some different things. But where I have changed about, I thought that too many people were looking at the Rams and saying, well, we got to get the next McVay. Yeah. We got to get the next McVay. And I thought it was too like, oh, pretty car or whatever it is. But here's where I've changed my mind. I think the benefit for having an offensive coach is this. If you get a defensive coach who's great or a very good coach, and then he gets a great offensive assistant, what's going to happen? That assistant
is gone.
Is going to go get a job.
Yeah.
He's going to get a head coaching job. So then you're going to have to be continually trying to find an assistant
Your
that's
offense
great.
Is always up and down.
So what the good news about being an offensive head coach is that it's a lot easier to find a fucking defensive assistant coach, a defensive coordinator. It's less cool for them to just go off and get a job. Ask Sean McDermott, who had to interview for several years. Ask these defensive coaches. Yeah. It's not as sexy as like, oh, we're going to go get the next. And so I think when you get the offensive play caller now or an offensive coach, he can't be lured away. What if he really is great?
Who do you think the Atlanta Falcons would rather have as their coach right now? Kyle Shanahan or Dan Quinn?
Oh, God.
And what happened? Kyle Shanahan was there as the coordinator. Everybody was singing Dan Quinn's praises, and then out goes Shanahan, and then you see what that coach is really capable of when it comes to consistency.
And it only took Shanahan 2 years there.
Yeah, and I hate to use this as an example too, but look at Sean Payton in New Orleans.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's that same thing. You know that when you have that play caller quarterback combo, you always trust that your offense is going to be able to do enough when it matters the most. And we have only ever had one side of that duo. We've had Cam Newton be able to ball out and overcome bad play calling, but he's never really had a coordinator that is helping him and the team at the same time.
Sean Payton isn't going to get lured away by a team. Andy Reid
definitely
not getting lured. Yeah, is not getting lured away. So you know what? Take Nick Fangio. Take him over there. You know what? And so Nick Wilson. Excuse me. Nick Wilson made a great point too. We were talking about how we wanted Lincoln Riley.
Yeah.
And he said this is that if Lincoln Riley leaves, that more than likely he would go to Cowboys, right?
I would like that.
But he said this. I thought was a great point. And because Lincoln Riley was an offensive coordinator at East Carolina University, head coach Ruffin McNeil, defensive coach, tenured guy. Yeah. Now Lincoln Riley is the head coach. Guess who he brought in on his defensive staff? Dang, Ruffin McNeil, the old hat. What, like Brandon Herbert was talking about, where you get Wade Phillips.
Yeah, right.
Right. Nick Wilson said this, is that if I'm Lincoln Riley and I'm out to take this, I'm going to get Ron Rivera as my defensive coordinator. I said, that sounds great, except for we haven't seen Ron Rivera be a good defensive coordinator
not
in a long time.
Not recently.
So it does. I actually think that'd be great. Look, I think Ron Rivera would fit well at a place like the Redskins, the Browns, places that are a fucking mess.
Yeah.
And that he can bring just an even-keeled thing. But I don't think necessarily he's going to come in and be the guy if you're close, he's what gets you over.
Right.
Right? I think he is a guy that gets you from a shit to pretty damn good.
Yeah.
You're like, I'll go eat at that restaurant.
Right. And I want to get back to that feeling that you said that you had when you came over before that Rams game. That when Cam Newton is on the field, man, I don't care who we're playing. I don't
You
care
put
where,
high school
I don't
players
care
out
when.
with him.
I trust that this is the guy that can get it done in any given moment.
Any situation.
I want that Cam back, but I also want a coach that
you
goes
feel
along
the
with
same
that.
way.
Right.
What we
Right.
have, and I do, and I mean, you've been bringing me up, you've been dragging me with you along the way. But I've said this: is Ron Rivera was good for our team, but I don't necessarily at any point feel like he gave us the specific advantage. He wasn't a
Right.
disadvantage to our team.
Right.
But like when the way you talk about Kyle Shanahan, the way we talk about some of these other guys, and really Belichick is the oddball. He's the defensive coach.
Yeah.
He's the one defensive coach that can find a way to do it with no matter who the fuck is on the team.
Well, there's a few, but they're definitely more rare. Belichick, I'd say Pete Carroll,
Yeah.
Mike Tomlin in Pittsburgh is another defensive guy.
How do they do it?
Yeah, I don't know, man. But
all right, last call of the night. We're going to be here Tuesday, 9 p.m. live, doing the show. Don't forget to tune in. We're on YouTube, iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher. Leave a review. And also call in for Tuesday's show. So we got a lot of cat calls. You guys have been tremendous supporters. Make sure you smash the thumbs up button. Let's see what this last call's got.
Guys, I don't know if I'm missing something or whatever. Is Brian Burns injured? I don't know what I'm missing here. I mean, he was having a great first half of the season. They just kick him to the side out of nowhere.
Actually
The
had a
defensive
great
play calling
season.
was a joke. Eric Reed, he can't make a tackle. He can't cover
I'm
people.
starting to worry Eric Reed
He's not.
isn't
He's just
that
not
good.
playing well. I mean, I like Scott Turner. I think he was able. I liked how he made adjustments to the offense in the second half, and I mean, there's not really anything to talk about. Kyle Allen. It's Kyle Allen, and the defensive coaching is the biggest problem with this defense right now.
and
I like the talent on
defensive
this team,
personnel,
actually.
potentially.
I think when you have a player like Dante Jackson show so much potential last year, and you see so much regression, I don't know how you can't put a lot of that on the coaching staff. It's the coaching staff's job to excel a player's skill throughout the season, and all they've done is hurt him. And
Well,
the
you
biggest
do get
takeaway
sophomore
is obviously
Yeah.
Kyle Allen. Why do we keep starting him? Okay, look, you're starting him. You want a tank. You want a good draft pick. That's fine. But when it's 30-10 and he's throwing 3 interceptions, fuck it. Put in Will Greer. What are you
Belichick,
thinking? Just
you
get him
think
some
Cam
experience.
will
Just
work.
see what he can do. We'll still lose the game. Just put him out there. Also, Christian McCaffrey. If we're getting blown out, I don't want him out there. I don't even want to have a chance of him getting injured. I think Perry Fewell is way overwhelmed. He doesn't know what he's doing, and the rest of this season is just going to be a joke. Love the podcast, guys. Thanks.
Man, fantastic call there. I do disagree a little bit with only the coaching. I do think there are personnel problems on the defense, but there's a reason the head coach got fired.
Yeah.
There's a reason that the team isn't doing well, and you're right. The coaching is a large part of that problem. I don't know, though, if it's just always expecting a second-year player to progress, though, is evidence of that. There are sophomore slumps. But at the end of the day, it comes down to this, is that this team is not ready. It's not ready on any moment. Dante Jackson wasn't ready on that 95-yard touchdown last week.
Yeah.
Half of these players don't look ready. Even the guy who we think should be the fucking defensive coordinator in Luke Kuechly doesn't look ready all the time.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's this air of just shit over this football team.
It's the stink.
And it's
We
hard
got
to
the
tell.
fucking stink
It's
on
hard
us.
to tell
Hey
what's.
guys, but what if this new defense that they're putting in, and it's probably so. We've heard it all. You know, they still having trouble learning it and learning all the run fits and stuff like that. You know, once you know it, you know it. I mean, look at Matt Ryan and that Kyle Shanahan offense the first year versus the second year.
Yeah.
I think it might be I'm almost worried if we try to just go backwards.
Yeah.
Because this didn't work this year. And
You
I'd be
wonder.
worried that Brian Burns all of a sudden becomes a pick that isn't as great as it could have been.
Right.
That, you
How
know.
often does that happen? Like in life, I mean, you have a company that has a new change. You don't like it because it's new, and you try it once and it doesn't work out, or you know, you have the first hiccup with it. You immediately get so angry you want to regress
You
back to the
can't
old
do
way.
that.
But you can't continue to live in a stagnant world because everything's going to continue to evolve beyond you.
And we went so all in on the change by drafting Brian Burns, by drafting Christian Miller, by keeping Marquise Haynes, by almost cutting Obata.
Yeah. We cannot lose the amount of work, the amount of draft capital we've invested in this change to just basically say, all right, we're done. I think the problem is always and will always be that they've got it set up to where people don't understand their gap assignments. You can see it just when somebody...
I just don't get how that's even possible.
They still gotta think instead of reacting.
That is a good point, is that they're thinking about the defense rather than being instinctual.
And does that change if you are in that defense long enough? Does that change?
Ooh.
Yeah, and then keep in mind the first-year players that are in under this system. And then now they're going to have to go and then learn something different next year. You kind of have to just... I mean, it's almost feeling like we kind of have to double down on the 3-4. Because I've said to you before, running the football on the 3-4 defense doesn't have to look as bad as it does with the Panthers.
Why do we struggle so much against the fucking 3-4 historically?
Right,
and we're a running team.
Exactly.
We were a running team all those years, and every time we played a 3-4, we got smashed.
I can answer that.
Offensive
Because
line.
when the 3-4 defense is played right and it's called right and it's executed right, you got formations for every formation you can line up with offensively. You got the 3-4 odd, the 3-4 even, the 3-4 over, the 3-4 unders, and if you call them right and they play them the gap assignment right, you can stop anything.
So it boils down to coaching at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I would say don't run from the 3-4. I would say
we've
not
invested
yet.
too much. It's kind of, and this is the fear too that I get when a team, when they go all in on a quarterback in the first round, top 10 pick, top 5. Is the sad thing is you're a bad team usually. Well, not usually. You are a bad team. You got a top 5 pick. You then go and pick this guy, but it takes time for you to figure out if it's a bust or not. Like, you can't just be like, oh, it was a bust this year, we give up. So think about Bortles. Think about Tannehill.
Yeah.
They're all busts.
Tannehill's starting to
Tannehill's playing.
But like how long? But you have to give them enough time to see.
5 years,
You have to give them that time.
You can't draft a quarterback in the first round, and like the Cardinals did. Look what happened. They are set back so long because they took Rosen in the first round and then immediately turned around and then reversed course on what they were doing.
The only thing that I'm positive, the only positive thing about the Cardinals is this: at least they put their foot down. And they said, this is not where we want to go.
Yeah.
They just cut their losses and they said, you know what, here's our moment again. Let's just go this way. I don't know if it's the right, but I agree. Is that when you miss a first round pick, like a Vernon Butler, like a Kelvin Benjamin,
it sets you back.
It does. Is that we didn't have the luxury. If Kelvin Benjamin all of a sudden would have been a top receiver in this league, then we're in a different place.
Yeah.
If Vernon Butler would have come out and been a top, who else do we got out there? Is that I'm trying to think. Is Shaq? Look, it's Shaq Thompson. It's 5 years in, and he's
just
look. I got his jersey on.
Yeah,
I'm cheering for
Thomas Davis.
Yeah, and it's not all his fault. But at the same time, nobody's going out there and going, Shaq is the best linebacker in football right now.
No, he hasn't had a wow moment. If anything, his most memorable moment to me is when he failed to wrap up on Alvin Kamara in the Superdome in the playoffs.
I remember
he
that.
smashed.
He hit that quarterback. And Kamara just didn't go down.
I thought Kamara was going to...
He hit Russell Wilson hard today. He put Russell Wilson on the ground, but then Russell Wilson also caught the ball, and it was like for 30 yards.
So it's all for 9.
All right. Okay, so look, my name's Tony Dunn. It's the C3 Panthers post-game show. We're here on Tuesday nights at 9 p.m. live each and every week. We got this chat room. What do you describe that chat room as?
Oh, it's the most lit Panther fan base on YouTube, man. Look, we got the best Panther fans on YouTube. We are joined by one of our favorite ones today, man. Thanks for showing up, Nova. All the love that everybody sends, man. We love it. We do this show for y'all. It's for the fans, by the fans. I'm a fan myself. You've been doing this for 7 years. I've only been here,
All of us are.
Yeah, a little over a year. I mean, this is
right.
this is for you guys, by you guys.
CK and I were talking about this before the game, and this is very important to me as the person who started this podcast.
Right.
Is I don't want this podcast to be about me. I don't want it to be about you. I don't want it to be about any one of us. This is not us talking to you. This is us sitting around in a circle, riding to the game in the car together, rapping about football together, where each of us have, and that's why the show is great. If it was just me talking to you guys, the show would only be as good as I could be. And we know, according to Nick and Josh and all of this,
it's Cody Lack's show.
Yeah. But because we make this show about the conversation that you guys and that we're having together, that's why people love it. And that's why crazy ass mugs will watch this show for 3 hours on Tuesday night. What are y'all? Y'all crazy as fuck. Y'all lit as fuck. All right. How can they follow you on Twitter before Tuesday?
At Cody Lack, CODYLAC. I also do want to say this, man. I look forward to these post game shows and Tuesday nights more than I do a Panther football game at this point in time, bro. I've had way more fun doing this with y'all than I did watching that game today.
Imagine how bad this season would be if we couldn't hang out together.
Oh, it'd be fucking terrible, dude.
Oh, gosh. I'm going to listen. I tell you this, because I ain't going to listen to no. I don't know. I'm going to listen to fucking Business Wars podcast. All right. CK, where can they find you? CK needs followers. He's at like 112, which is 12 more than he had like a month ago. Yeah, we need to get him.
We're getting it up
there. Our goal is 200 before the draft.
Before the draft. All right. Yeah, you can find me at Codizzle Allen, CODIZZLE Allen, ALLEN.
All right. You're heading north. Nova Black, you're heading south. Yeah. Where can they find you on Twitter?
Oh, at Nova Black.
Yeah.
Just at NOVABLAK. I ain't no C in my black.
No C.
You can't see me.
Cut the lights off.
Like that.
Boom. It's like Dante Jackson. He can cut the light switch off and be in bed before the lights are off.
Yeah.
That's how fast he is. Right. And I'm heading east. We got a 4-hour drive, but man, I tell you this, it's worth it hanging out with you guys. We're gonna be here on Tony. Nick says, "You know I love you, Tony." Man, you love talking shit. Y'all love talking shit, and I love it too. Don't worry, I got a thick skin. Actually, I'm very sensitive. I'm gonna cry all the way home. But I'll see you on Tuesday night, guys. Let's get the hell out of here.
He misses your mustache.
We know what it can be. Kyle Allen. It's the Kyle Allen stash.